ability to steal an electron from the bacteria's cell membrane. If enough electrons are stripped, the cell membrane ruptures and the bacteria can no longer function. Although ionic silver is useful, this one-to-one electron exchange requires multiple applications or a high concentration of silver to achieve the effectiveness needed. Conversely, SilverSol's unique nano-silver particle has a patented silver oxide coating, Ag4O4, that can steal thousands of electrons per particle, resulting in a continuous or catalytic action. In addition, we supercharge the nanoparticle with the same frequency as ultraviolet light, 890 to 910 terahertz. Although this UV light frequency is harmless to human tissue, it is highly destructive to bacteria, fungus, and yeast, and doesn't require direct physical contact in order to be effective. This powerful combination of silver oxide coating and resonant UV frequency multiplies the effectivity exponentially. In fact, SilverSol at a concentration of 10 ppm is up to 3 times more effective than traditional colloidal silver hydrosols or ionic silver products containing up to 3,000 ppm. Best of all, SilverSol is backed by 420 independent third-party studies, including 32 safety studies and 5 human ingestion studies. Unlike other silver products, SilverSol won't harm probiotics, isn't metabolized in the body, and is safely excreted with no residual buildup. This means SilverSol products can be safely used every day without the drawbacks of traditional silver colloids, hydrosols, and ionic silver products. Make SilverSol your natural, safe, and effective solution. Silver has been effectively used for centuries because of its natural antibacterial properties. Today, it's used in thousands of consumer products, including medical products, fabrics, and supplements. Because silver has the highest electrical conductivity, thermal conductivity, and reflectivity of any metal, it is very effective as a colloid, silver suspended in water. Common colloidal or ionic silvers contain positively charged silver ions that have the ability to steal an electron from the bacteria's cell membrane. If enough electrons are stripped, the cell membrane ruptures and the bacteria can no longer function. Although ionic silver is useful, this one-to-one electron exchange requires multiple applications or a high concentration of silver to achieve the effectiveness needed. Conversely, SilverSol's unique nano-silver particle has a patented silver oxide coating, Ag4O4, that can steal thousands of electrons per particle, resulting in a continuous or catalytic action. In addition, we supercharge the nanoparticle with the same frequency as ultraviolet light, 890 to 910 terahertz. Although this UV light frequency is harmless to human tissue, it is highly destructive to bacteria, fungus, and yeast, and doesn't require direct physical contact in order to be effective. This powerful combination of silver oxide coating and resonant UV frequency multiplies the effectivity exponentially. In fact, SilverSol at a concentration of 10 ppm is up to 3 times more effective than traditional colloidal silver hydrosols or ionic silver products containing up to 3,000 ppm. Best of all, SilverSol is backed by 420 independent third-party studies, including 32 safety studies and 5 human ingestion studies. Unlike other silver products, SilverSol won't harm probiotics, isn't metabolized in the body, and is safely excreted with no residual buildup. This means SilverSol products can be safely used every day without the drawbacks of traditional silver colloids, hydrosols, and ionic silver products. Make SilverSol your natural, safe, and effective solution.
Today, we are bombarded with more infectious and contagious disease than ever before. Your risk for developing a serious illness is higher than ever before. There has been SARS virus, there has been epidemics with all different kinds of flus. We're exposed to MRSA. Your risk is very serious because our antibiotics don't work nearly as well. In history, people used silver just as a coin thrown in their water barrels to protect them from bacteria. I'd like to introduce you to a brand new technology using silver. This silver is a silver sol, and it is different than any other silver in any other form. It is under a brand new patent because it is brand new technology and unique. It destroys bacteria, viruses, and mold inside your body as a liquid and outside your body as a gel. It is very important because it destroys the causes of many diseases, and because it is documented in a patent, we can make these claims. Here's how it works. It will resonate at a frequency very similar to the germicidal lights that you see in a hospital. In fact, our silver sol resonates at 910 terahertz, the very same frequency that germicidal lights resonate at. So now you can take a tiny particle of this silver sol, swallow it, it enters a red blood cell, circulates through your body, destroying the very pathogens that cause disease. Here's why you need it. You need it because we have too many bacteria in our society. We have too many problems in our nurseries, in our schools, at our work. You need it because by putting it on your hands, you've now helped protect against 70% of all contagious disease and its contamination. You need it because it destroys the cause of ear infections, eye infections, sinus infections, gum disease, even toenail infections. This is important to your family to take every day to protect against our environment and to use when you do get exposed to serious pathogens or ones that may exist like a SARS virus. This is important, and I would like to share with you many of the testimonials of people who have used it and received their benefits.
Silver Sol is one of the most miraculous products that I've ever used.
And I had one of my patients who's been taking herbal products for a number of years and had a ulcer in their leg. It wasn't a diabetic ulcer. They went to the medical doctor and they said everything was okay. But the herbal preparations just wasn't clicking. So we started putting them on the Silver Sol externally and internally. And they came back to me in 2 weeks and it had healed up better than it did in 5 years.
It was just absolutely amazing. If you ever get bit by mosquitoes, you know that you'll grab almost anything that you can. We carried silver with us every place we went. Midday, all of us were swinging silver. Every morning and every evening, I came prepared. I sprayed it in my throat. I pushed it into my nostrils. I dropped it into my ears. And then of course, I swallowed it 2 or 3 times a day. We felt very, very comfortable, very protected. But I just felt totally confident that it was going to protect me.
I actually came down with pink eye. Started the drops in my eyes I woke up Thursday morning with it, and he saw me today and I said, look, it's gone. It is such a fabulous product. All you have to do is just use it, and Silver Sol, it's what it says it is.
A week before I was coming here, one of my friends, a doctor who has been in practice for 55 long years, he's 80 years, he's a family physician. His wife had what we call bronchiectasis, that is, small dilatations of the bronchi in the lung, both sides, and it gets filled with all these germs, and she has been bringing out pus, and she has been breathing very difficult. Now he came and told me, look, I am desperate now. The lab report says these germs are resistant to everything under the sun. So I told him, look, I'll give you something unconventional. I had 2 bottles left for my travel. I used to keep it in my bag. So I gave those 2 bottles. I tell you, the 4th day he comes running to my house with so much sweets and cashew nuts and this and that. He says, for the first time in her life, my wife has slept for the last 2 days and she has stopped wheezing and the pus has stopped coming out. Can you believe that?
One day of Silver Sol, I worked that whole day in a classroom with 25 kids. My energy never dropped, but I could feel the symptoms. Next morning I woke up, gone. I love Silver Sol. I had a client, she'd just been to the doctor, and in her blood was mononucleosis. And she said, I have to go to an infectious disease doctor. What shall I do? I said, get the silver, a teaspoon 3 times a day. A week and a half later, she went to the infectious disease doctor, and it was totally out of her blood, as according to the blood test.
That Silver Sol is a remarkable product.
Well, we took the Silver Sol, I put it on about 3 times, and I tell you, in 2 days, her face was clear. Anyway, I got a paper cut real bad in my area right here in the mouth. But I took my Silver Sol and I dabbed that on there, and by the time I got to Houston that afternoon, it was gone.
One of the young interns, God bless young people, because they don't go with traditional medicine right there with the time, and they were inquisitive, and they said, I want to look at that and culture it, because it looks like it may be a MRSA infection, an MRSA infection. And we said, no, it's obviously a spider bite. Look at the symptoms. Look at the discharge from it. And he said, no, let me culture it. So what do I have to lose? They culture it. And at that time, they came back and said, look, it is MRSA, and it is spreading. And we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to cut into the muscle and cut into the tissue and take it out and then treat it. I said, well, let's wait, because I have another solution I'd like to try. So I used their gel, put the gel in there, and I doubled the dose, oral dose that I was taking, and it cleared up in 3 days.
I had a friend of mine that had MRSA. They were going to cut his toe off the next week, and he stayed over the weekend. He took, I believe, 3 IVs of the Silver Sol, and he went home with 5 bottles. And he drank those bottles over about a 10-12 day period. And he called me and he said, you would not believe my toe, the blackness is gone, new healing is taking place, the hole is filled up, and in 2 weeks' time he's walking with his shoe, and it totally saved his toe.
The pilot study showed that VRSA germs, that is vancomycin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus and MRSA, get killed faster with this solution than the ordinary germs. And literally every germ that we have tried in the laboratory, it kills. And it is not an antibiotic. We are now studying the dynamic work. So resistance will not be a question here. Resistance will not happen.
Coming out on the flight this week, I got extreme pressure in my ear. I had some congestion in January, and I had my husband put 2 drops of the Silver Sol in my ear, and instantly the pain was gone, and I made the rest of the flight.
This is exciting technology. Silver Sol technology is just absolutely amazing what it will do for people in a very completely non-toxic way.
Hello, welcome to Discovering the World of Natural Health. I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman. Your life and your health are very important, especially if you live in the skin you live in. And right now, we're taking the opportunity to share knowledge and information with you that will help you have a better quality of life and do it naturally. So with that in mind, let's get on with the show, or continue with the show. How about that? Right now, we're in the season for people planning. You know, Mother's Day just happened to come and go. Flowers, fruits, vegetables, all these things are so important, and they have significance when it comes to rebuilding and replenishing the cells in our bodies. So with that in mind, Remedy This Naturally believes it's very important for us to share knowledge and information that you and I can be able to have and to hold and to get benefit from. Now, one thing I brought in to share with you today was this heavy, this is a heavy piece of glass here. And on top of that, we'll just take the lid off of it. And what in the world? We got a jar, right? But we also have a top that goes on this jar that has holes in it. So in other words, if we put a liquid in this jar, seeds in this jar, and then we put this back on top, and we can take and put the water in, and when it's time to get rid of the water that's in there, you can pour it right out of the top and don't lose the sprouts. That's what's important. It's a sprouting jar with a stainless steel screen and lid. So that's what we've got right there. I took the lid off here, but let me go back into my jar, take the lid back off of it, put it over here, and reach in. And basically, if you want to do this, you could really, really appreciate having some directions to go by. Correct? Yeah, I think so too. Sprouting seeds. And you can see it laying down here, and you can see those sprouts coming up. I mean, you could do something like a classic stir fry. You could make your ingredients. You could put in there 3 tablespoons of peanut oil, 1 pound of sprouts, 1 tablespoon of minced ginger, 1 tablespoon of chopped parsley, 1 teaspoon of sauce, 2 pods of chili pepper, half a cup of sliced scallions, and 1/2 cup of chopped red peppers, 1/2 cup of chopped onions, 2 cups of rice. And you can take that. What do you do with it once you get all that together? Very simple. You look on the back of the label right here, and it says directions. In a very hot wok, place the peanut oil, add your garlic, ginger, and chili powder, and continuously stir for 1 minute. Add the red pepper, the onions, and soy sauce, and continue to cook for 2 minutes. Add your sprouts and your yazoo and cook for 1 minute. In a boiling pot of water, add your rice noodles and cook for 5 minutes. Drain your noodles under cold water and add to the sprouts in the wok, and add your scallions and cook for 1 more minute. And then at that, time to enjoy. So we got various types of seeds that are available at Remedy This Naturally with the jars, you to be able to do that. You know, and what I'm doing is trying to help you understand that it's not that big a deal to be able to do this, but what the big deal is that you are using something in its sprouted form, and when it turns into the chlorophyll aspect of it, and you've got something to choose from. And that book that was hiding a minute ago just showed itself. But would you like to know what you got to do before you do it? Because you say, I don't know if I want to do that or not. Well, I'll see. If I want to read from there, I want to read from here. So, fact of life, let's go to page 3. Sprouting for health. Do you think we'd talk about something that wasn't for health? Heck no. Let's talk about sprouts. Yeah, sprout. And it says, this comes along, you can get this little book to go with that. It's not part of the sprouting things. If you want to go ahead and understand why you're doing what you're doing, then You probably want to purchase the book separate. And it's a half-gallon sprouting jar. Everything you need for learning about and growing sprouts, organic seeds, beans, and grains. You can handle larger volumes of using a jar method of sprouting. It includes a sprouting jar, strainer lid, and 8 ounces of protein seeds. And that would be that's using the jar right here. Okay? So that's what we've got available for you at Remedy This Naturally. And I'm going to share with you introduction to sprouting. Cool, right? Right. The little book I'm holding in my hand is about little miracles. Wow. Tiny ones that we sometimes overlook. I like that little cut on the end of your finger, how miraculous it heals. Sometimes, though, due to the carelessness, it festers and becomes infected and begins to give us pain. Pain is our body's signal for us that it needs help. With a cut finger and a course of action obvious, clean it, disinfect it, but what about tiny invisible cuts? Well, wait a minute. What about tiny invisible cuts that we can't see, which can happen inside our bodies all the time? What do we do about subtle message of pain coming from these little cuts? Too many of us reach for the nearest chemical pain reliever, which we could be doing without more and better. There is a sword stabbing inside our bodies, a sword that cuts a swath of ill health in millions of Americans. A little different approach here today, right? Let's continue. Let's talk about a fact of life. Our bodies are being damaged inside, invisible, and mercilessly by toxic chemicals reactions, toxic chemical additives, and hazardous waste in our air, water, and food supplies continue to pervert our lives and working environment erroneously. Boy, I gave it a hard time for something so simple. These toxins are returning to us in what we eat, drink, and breathe. Thankfully, much of the internal damage that do heal automatically from the cuts on our fingers, just like the cut on our finger. However, when our body is not adequately nourished, it cannot neutralize and expel the poisons fast enough. They build up in our body, and so does the invisible damage they do. Toxic buildup can severely damage our immune system. Isn't this powerful information? Let's talk about, we talked about sprouting for health, we talked about a fact of life. Now I'm going to take you into a fact of health. A body that is toxic is like a cut with dirt in it. It is contaminated and may not heal properly. It needs to be cleaned and given the nourishment that it has. The nourishment helps it disinfect, detoxify, rebuild, and heal itself. Many of us have already recognized the fact of life and altered our lifestyle to avoid many chemicals as possible. Some of us have also recognized this fact in life and being more careful about how we take care of our nutritional needs. There is a food source, a natural full of concentrated nutrients that can help us in our body detoxify and, listen to this, rebuild our cells in our body. You're familiar with the parable of the mustard seed, right? We can turn to another little miracle for help, a tiny one that can have something we've overlooked. Consider the parable of the mustard seed. Inside the tiny little seed rests the future of the mighty plant, a plant that will many times larger than the tiny germ of life, which is sprouts. A plant that will produce many more seeds, each one within another plant resting inside. Something's inside that seed, right? The mustard seed then is much more than a symbol of infinity and of man. It is infinity itself in living sources and forms. Every seed is a plant embryo, okay, waiting for the right conditions to respond and respond with life, germinating into a shooting plant body. Some, like ancient Egyptian wheat, wait for thousands of years. Then a seed meets with the right combination of moisture, air, and temperature, and it begins to sprout forth very fast. Just like us, it strives to emerge into the world with a healthy body to grow up big and strong. For this reason, I'm going to say it again. For this reason, sprouting seeds produce a wide and an abundant array of concentrated vitamins, minerals, trace elements, enzymes, growth hormones, amino acids, simple sugars, and essential fatty acids, all of which are essential to human health as well. These nutrients are charged with energy, the energy of life. Instead of 9 months, maybe these sprouts are ripe and ready for the world in just a few days. Living foods, of which sprouting seeds, beans, and greens are but one category, are beneficial and natural sources of concentrated, healthful nutrients. Sprouts can help a body that is constantly exposed to toxic chemicals and is undergoing immune system decline. If we continue or include to put sprouts in our diet, we can give our body the nutrients and energy it needs to cleanse, detoxify, rebuild, and heal itself. And heal itself. Then these trillions of tiny cells that make up our comparatively enormous body can do what? Continue to do what they do best. Keep us alive, alert, and feeling healthy. Talking about sprouts. Let's talk about why toxic. Let's talk a little bit about toxic buildup. Animal human fat, tissue surveys, and studies by clinical ecologists, chemicals reside in the entire American population. Several of the toxins detected are so dangerous that any level that they place in the EPA has a banned list, a list which keeps getting larger. But banning them and the thousands of others which have been tested for toxicity will do nothing about, you just want nothing to happen. They will continue to build up in our bodies unless we personally take corrective action. No one knows the full consequences of these difficult and different chemicals combined in the human body, especially in the same body. It also exposed to various harmful biological, radiological agents as well. But thanks to the widespread contamination of our environment, we are all guinea pigs in a giant experiment, resulting from our wasteful and destructive chemicals, biological and radiational technologies. If we wish to avoid possible future suffering and ill health, we need to do something about toxic buildup. How in the world do we do that? Symptoms of toxic buildup. One clinical indication of toxic buildup is chemical allergies, blood and urine tests. Chemically allergic people invariably reveal high concentration of various toxic chemicals reside in the body. And we need to do something about them. These symptoms need to be heeded. None of these conditions are normal. If you are experiencing any of them, your body is trying to tell you something. If you already know you are allergic to something, chemical that may seek the physician trained in chemical ecology to find out what's going on. More chemicals such as pain relievers, antihistamines, antacids, and others can only make matters worse. They only temporarily relieve or cover up symptoms without doing anything about our toxic buildup. Some clinical ecologists estimate that 1 in 10 Americans already reaching the danger point of toxic overload in our bodies. At this stage, internal damage occurs and leads to organ failure and emergencies in our life. Toxic buildup may be one of the primary causes of the present running epidemic of infections, contagious and degenerative diseases in the industrial world. And this is especially in urban United States. These damages of these toxins are called free radicals. Yep. And let's just talk about some of these things. And yeah, we're talking about what's going on, what can be going on. This is powerful information. Skin, chemically allergic or allergies indicate. Skin, what happens? It becomes itching, burning, flushing, tingling, sweating behind the neck, hives, blisters, blotches, red spots, itchy rashes, psoriasis, and dermatitis. That's for the skin. Now, what about what's going on now? We just, thank goodness, having the rain to continue to move the pollen from around us, but our ear, nose, and throat, nasal congestion, wheezing, nasal itching, runny nose, postnasal drip, sore, dry, tingling throat, clearing of the throat, itching palate, hoarseness, hacking, you have some cough, popping in the ears, earache, deafness, having to get hearing aids, recurrent throat or ear infection. We know that we have chemical allergy indicators in our eyes, blurred of vision, and I have to sometimes just kind of move around a little bit just to be able to get to focusing. And pain in the eyes, watery eyes, crossing of the eyes, sensitive vision, eyelid twitching, drooping or swelling, redness or swelling of the inner angle of the lower lid of the eye. In the respiratory system, chemical indicators are shortness of breath, wheezing, persistent cough, mucus formation in the bronchial tubes, and recurrent respiratory infections. In the cardiovascular system, chemicals allergy indicators are pounding heart, increased or racing pulse, skipping heartbeats, flushing, hot flashes, chills or cold extremities, reducing blueness of the hands, faintness and chest pain. Chemical allergy indicators in the gastrointestinal tract, dryness of the mouth, increased saliva, canker sores, stinging tongue, burping, retasting, heartburn, indigestion. Folks, these are normal things considered today, but they are because of chemical allergens. These indicators cause that. In the nervous system, headaches, migraines, dizziness, lightheadedness, compulsively sleepy, drowsy, depression, anxiety, overstimulated, jittery, all these things can, delusions, hallucinations, free radical damage, oxides, superoxidize, the LIP lipids, free radical damage, toxic causation in aging and heart disease, toxic causation in sexually transmitted diseases, toxic risk to future generations, how to avoid toxic buildup, nature's protectors of antioxidants, pro-vitamin A carotenoids, pro-vitamin B complexes, vitamin C, vitamin E, chlorophyll, calcium, magnesium, potassium, selenium, zinc, antioxidant enzymes, the miracle of germination. You guys want to hear the neat thing about sprouts and the miracles involved in those seeds and how they change? I think it's more important to talk about that. We hit very hard on this stuff coming here about the vitamins and what they do for us. But during germination, seeds become alive and undergo many fast internal changes. And the great miracle of this amazing process is a huge increase in a host of nutrients that are miraculously created inside the sprout's embryo. This is powerful stuff. Water absorption swells the sprout seeds from 6 to 10 times its normal size under tremendous dynamic pressure per square inch. That's to get the water absorption. Enzymes immediately become active and create a host of nutritional changes. Proteins are converted into amino acids. Starches change into simple sugars. Minerals chelate or combine in a way that increases their assimilation. Vitamins content increases from 3 to 12 times. Chlorophyll and carotenes content increases dramatically when they're exposed to sunlight. Let's give you an example, okay? Wheat sprouts, for example, contain 4 times more folic acid and 6 times more vitamin C than unsprouted wheat. In studies at the University of Pennsylvania, vitamin C content in some seeds is found to increase up to 700% in just 72 hours of sprouting. For this reason, some fresh sprouts contain more vitamin C than citrus fruits. This also applies to vitamins A, E, and B complex, and others. Depending on the variety of seeds sprouted, a Yale University study of grains, seeds, and beans showed that sprouting substantially increased all B vitamins from 200 to 600%. Vitamin E content increased 300% in sprouted wheat after 4 days of sprouting. And what you're looking at when the sprouting is done, sprouts are complete foods. Their proteins are called complete proteins because it's correct combination that contains all the essential amino acids. They also call complete foods because they contain all the essential dietary nutrients along with the enzymes to help stimulate them. Simple plant sugars such as maltose are easily digested and enter the bloodstream quickly. For this cause, they are living plants. Let's just talk about some of the sprouts themselves. Okay? Because why are we doing this? Because sprouts are a good source of health. Okay? Alfalfa sprouts, one of the most popular nutrients, nutritious, delicious of all sprouted seeds. High in protein, essential amino acids, and 8 digestive enzymes. And one of the things we have more and more problems with is the body lack of the enzymes to help it digest the food. Okay, high in protein, amino acid, 8 digestive enzymes, which we just elaborated on, vitamins A, C, B complex, including B12, D, E, and 4 mineral iron, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, potassium when exposed to light, high in chlorophyll. Alfalfa sprouts are very tasty with a sweet nut-like flavor. They're a lot safer, less expensive, and more fun to eat than factory-filled chemical lettuce. Alfalfa seed sprouts, easily and combined with other seeds. They make a lively combination or addition to one's diet in salad, sandwiches, soups, etc. Okay? Alfalfa, powerful to know. Barley, unhulled, organic. Barley grass, much like wheatgrass, is rich in B vitamins, particularly thiamine, riboflavins, protein, and plethora of minerals. Grow, harvest, and juice just like wheatgrass. Broccoli, sprouts, and that is like raw broccoli sprouts, contain vitamins A, B, and C, potassium, and phytochemicals. Indole, research suggests that phytochemicals may reduce the risk of breast, stomach, and lung cancer. When you put back into the terrain of the body we live in what is necessary for it to function, then it can do what's necessary to put back into basically the Garden of Eden variety of seed or something similar to it in today's enlightenment. Buckwheat sprouts, Chinese cabbage sprouts, fenugreek sprouts, garbanzo, green pea, lentil sprouts, mung bean sprouts, radish sprouts, red clover sprouts, red winter wheat sprouts, soybeans, sunflower sprouts. You know, why in the world are we talking about sprouts? And why is it an ideal solution to putting in healthy cells back into our bodies? Because we're feeding it. Besides their nutritional advantages, sprouted seeds, beans, and grains have several other sterling attributes that make them an ideal addition to your regular diet and prime food source in times of need. Sprouts are economical. 1 tablespoon of sprouts costs like less than 50 cents, but fill a quart jar with several ounces of delicious, ready-to-eat sprouts. 1 4-ounce package will yield several pounds, and their concentrated nutrition is alive. Something which can be said for most, which can't be said for most nutritional supplements. You know, you can get them in the live form. Economical, because they are more nutritional powerhouses. Their food value is much higher than most other foods per unit of production cost. This conserves energy, saves processing, packaging, and storage costs, and it avoids becoming denatured and accumulating toxic buildup in food itself. Toxic-free, sprouts are as sweet and pure as nature intended them to be. When completely natural and organic and sprouts with clean water, they can be free of toxic residue. Okay, easy to store. Seeds do not have to be frozen or preserved to keep them from spoiling. All they're required is a few glass jars with airtight lids and a good dark storage area, and they will store easily. Very little sprout space for a year or more. And after sprouting, they can be placed in plastic bags in the refrigerator, again, not requiring much space. The other thing is, everybody's always worrying about this fat stuff. But sprouts, low in calorie fat, depending on protein content. 1 fully packed cup of sprouts contains about 16 to 70 calories, and they're simple sugars for quick energy. Sprouts contain no cholesterol and provide essential fatty acids. Several sprouts, such as alfalfa, are sweet and satisfying to the taste buds and the body. It's also impossible to overeat raw, live food like sprouts. They're the perfect weight loss and body purification food. Taste and versatility is there. Simple and easy, fast way to grow. And you got a system here, tell you exactly how to do it. And the jar method, there's a tray method. Tells you what you need to do. And so, isn't that great? Maybe a little bit too much reading, but you got this right here. And this is sprouting seeds and timetable working here. So what we want to do is we're going to put this back in here for the jar, and let you be able to see the sprouts. Also, think about the silver and what it will do and how it will help. Remedy this naturally. Oh, something fantastic. Come back in. We had to put off for a while, but now you may want to check out some of those cookies that just got put out today. So fresh and sweet. This sprouting health, have it coming, have it going, and we have the seeds and stuff that are there. Then We can talk about herbal, kitchen, and what it needs to do. Your life and your health are yours to take care of, to make it what it needs to be made, and we challenge you to be able to take and enjoy the benefits of nature's creation for us to help you with that, with your life and health. It is exciting to bring those topics to you that give you the ability to overcome the negativity in our lives. I challenge you to do so. I'm Claiborne Holtzman. May good health be yours from Remedy This Naturally, because you deserve it.